Mr.
On your show. That aside, private sector.
Mr. Ali M. Ali, we understand, the Deputy Director of the APC, as well as the Tinubu Shetima Presidential Campaign Council. We want to thank you so much indeed for joining us here on Front Row Politics on Control TV.
Thank you, Gimba, for having me on your show.
Let's just quickly fact check on a few things that were the outcomes of the Chatham House meeting of your presidential candidate in the person of Ahmed Bola Tinubu in London just very recently. What's your perception of the outcomes of what he said?
Well, very positive. My perception is very positive, and given the fact that he spoke very well, and the audience also, the responses from the audience, and indeed Nigerians has been largely positive, and some of the questions asked after the presentation, after he made his speech, which likely do well on Nigeria's, his foreign policy, once he gets the presidential go-ahead by Nigerians, if he wins the election, that this, what is likely to happen going forward under his watch. So I would say it's the impression, he made quite an impression, a very huge one for that matter. And you could tell from the reaction of especially the opposition, the reaction from the opposition, which is expected anyway. And the fact that they are scrutinizing every single word he uttered or he did not utter. So you say, yes, it was quite, I mean, a huge success. The impression was good, and he spoke well. He did very well. It's expected. I did not expect anything less than what he did, or he said at the Chatham House.
You said the opposition, especially the PDP, have been scrutinizing, trying to pick holes in just about everything that he said. Yeah. One of the things that the PDP felt was that it was a slant dealt on Nigerian and the Nigerian people when he was unable to answer questions, but instead delegated them. Do you see it as such that he should have maybe answered those questions by himself?
Well, you know, that's the way they will have the opposition. If they don't pick holes, what will be their role? And democracy or government is as strong as the opposition. So it's expected that they will pick holes. But then even look at what is it that he asked a team to answer, members of the team. He went with the team and he asked some members of the team to answer some of the questions arising from the interface with Chatham House. Now, if you look at it, this is something that I mean, the opposition has to dwell on. But look at it, it's not out of place, especially for Bola Tinubu, because he is a leader who has a track record of assembling a winning team and who is confident enough in his team to delegate responsibility, to delegate questions, and to ask members of his team to respond to questions after he has answered largely some of the questions raised. Now look at even at it. It's not the first time perhaps leaders would ask others to respond on their behalf. We've seen it happening worldwide. There are leaders who ask their lieutenants or their team members of their team to respond to questions. But you see, the PDP, for want of a better thing, and indeed the whole of the opposition, and those who are traditional critics, traditional traducers of Asuwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, will pick holes, they will punch out. His profile is such that you cannot, he engenders extreme emotions, if you like. There are people who will be on one end of the spectrum, which is broad. There will be people who will be, they are fanatical about their support for him. And of course, you expect the opposition to go to that extreme as to pick holes in some of these things, some of the engagement. But like we said in the past, it's teamwork. Bola Tinubu does not believe in solo runs. And that's why he has remained in the national political discourse since the time he became governor in 1999. He has survived, he has remained in the national political conversation, and especially in the last 10 or so years, and especially with the merger that saw APC dislodging a grossly underperforming PDP. And he has remained in national glare. And people, it comes with the territory. If you aspire to lead in the executive office of the president and commander-in-chief, you expect that every of your action or inaction will be subjected to the crucible, will be scrutinized. So it's not surprising that the opposition is making literally a mountain out of a molehill. So it's understandable. I would be surprised if the opposition did not take or treat that path and then let it go just like that. So it's expected that they are picking holes with that. But like people ask this question again, and you didn't ask this, but I'm just giving, maybe it's a corollary to the next thing. People are making allusion that he actually cleverly dodged responsibility by asking members of his team to answer these questions.
But don't you think that he would have sold himself better if he had answered those questions by himself, knowing that he's the first person, not even the team that he went with? That is the selling point of the APC today.
I think he has sold himself a long time ago, and that's why he is receiving this kind of reaction, because most of the things, the questions asked, are actually the responses, the answers are there in his action plan. They are there rooted in the action plan, which is in the public space. The action plan was unveiled a couple of weeks ago in Abuja in an elaborate ceremony when the Presidential Campaign Council was inaugurated. And then the action plan was unveiled, and every conceivable process that would built on the achievement of the current regime led by Muhammadu Buhari was every conceivable process that would fast-track Nigeria's development is there in the action plan of the candidate. So selling himself, he has, like I said, he has sold himself. Over the years he has been governor. Given his track record, we make this reference to his days as governor of Lagos State, how he managed to first turn around the economy of Lagos.
So you see him as a bridge builder?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I have yet to see a greater bridge builder than Bola Ahmed Tinubu. For a number of reasons. Look at his days as governor of Lagos State. He assembled a team. And in that team today, you can see, he has built leaders. He has, for want of a better thing to say, in his political family, there are people who have emerged to lead the National Assembly, in both chambers of the National Assembly. There are people who are now from his political family. He's infogasic, even the number 2. You can't run away from the fact that at a point, it was Tinubu's vision and ability to recognize talent. And I must say this of him. He himself admitted that he's a talent hunter. He assembled a rainbow assembly in his cabinet from people from different parts of the country.
But that's not in any contention as it were, because what, however, is in contention is even one of your party's stalwarts in the person of the Kaduna State Governor, Madam Nasir El-Rufai, who just a few weeks back came out with this assertion and actually spoke in Hausa, which connotes that Tinubu is not probably the fittest person right now because of his aging status. And El-Rufai, in that viral video, said, but this is what the APC wants, and since APC wants it, we'll just have to, tag along. And then he also tagged along all the way to Chatham House. People see this as being hypocritical.
Well, fittest in what sense? Because look, I always say we've had leaders in the past who actually operated from the wheelchair. We've had them. People make this reference, how, especially whether his cognitive abilities have declined. But you see, it's a question he has answered himself. He said, look, I'm not going into a wrestling bout. I'm not going into a boxing duel. I am healthy enough to pilot the affairs. What should trouble Nigerians, and indeed all lovers of democracy, is whether the state of mind of Tinubu. If you are 70, a lot of people will say when you get to 70, you can't be in the best, you're not 35, you're not even 40. At 70 is expected, perhaps, the body. But then look at even of late, what science has proved, that most people attain their peak, productive peak mental alertness between the ages of 65 to 70 and up to 80. And that's why some people also point at how the government, extended the retirement ages of judges to 70 years and scholars also to 70 years. That aside, we should worry about the age of ideas of Tinubu. Is his ideas jaded? That's the question Nigerians should be asking. If they were, Lagos would not be the success story that it were. He is about the only governor of the class 99 who envisaged a long-term plan which is being implemented right now in Lagos, succession plan. You can see in the last 25 years, since 1999, 23 years now and counting, his vision saw succession in the state, which has tremendously helped to fast-track the state's economy. And if it were a state, nation state now, it would have been the sixth largest economy. Tinubu, to his credit, actually, like he said himself, he tamed the Atlantic Ocean, turned it into an economic asset. How many men like that think ahead, are futuristic? The Lagos Atlantic City project is one that is now globally acclaimed. So if you look at all of that, to go back to what RFI said. RFI, with RFI, you know exactly where you stand. But this idea about being hypocritical, I think it's a matter of conviction. RFI, he might have raised that as, yes, but like you say, it's a Democrat. There was a free and fair primaries. And of course, most of the things said about Tinubu, some of them are hyperbolic, they're exaggerated.
Including the gaffes?
Well, that's a very interesting thing, because people make allusion to this. And I said, look, every now and again, you have senior moments. When you get to 70, you expect that, and if you are inundated with a lot of information at your disposal, chances are that you'll be overwhelmed. And politicians, normally, when leaders, they sleep late, they wake up early, all through the day they are engaging. And if you are seeking to run a complex country like Nigeria, where you have to attend to various interests, sometimes you occasionally have information overload. Gimba, even you as a veteran, look at news surveillance alone. If you are asked to keep a vigil on the news environment, for example, just take the conflict, the lingering conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Every day, if you are just to zero in your mind there alone, that's a lot of work to do to keep tabs. You may be overwhelmed by the sheer volume of information. How much more when you are dealing with varied, a lot of pressure, catering to interest, trying to knit together, to bring together a country that is politically polarized. And if some people will even say polarized along the usual fault lines. So the gaps, how injurious are they? That's the question I'm asking. That you make an occasional glitch and you said APC, for example, and then you immediately retract. We've seen that happen with other candidates. Where are other candidates who made such blunders, if at all I may call them, when they have such gaps, like you said, or glitches? Why are they not subjected to the incinerator? Why are they not incinerated? Why are they not lacerated? Why are they not tongue lashed?
So this is permissible?
Understandably, because you are human, You make occasional slips. Even myself in the course of interview, I'm sure I'll make some slips. But you understand, because I'm Ali, I'm not Bola Tinubu, I'm not aspiring to be president. So people will overlook that. But they will expect someone to have photographic memory. And that's why you have a battery of it when you are commander-in-chief. And that's why you can't do a solo run. I mean, even you as an anchor now, for example, you're not doing you have the cameraman, you have the sound engineer, you have so many people to help produce an excellent copy, so to say, if I may use the newspaper language. But having said all of this, it's human to occasionally slip. It's human. Like I said, in medical terms, they call it senior moments. And in even more recent, there is a stronger term now when you have, they call it, I think, when your brain occasionally freezes. Sometimes it happens to the best of us. Sometimes you are in the middle of something, you forget totally. And it can happen to anyone, whether young, old, middle age, it can happen. So it's understandable. It shows that after all, he's not Superman. We are all mortal beings. You understand? So this is the point I'm trying to make him back.
Let's talk about the party manifesto against the candidate, Bola Tinubu. Which should be the priority for the party right now? Should I say, which should be a priority to focus on by Nigerians? Should it be the manifesto of the APC? Should it be Tinubu and his antecedents?
You see, the action plan of the candidate, and that's why we call it action plan, is a matter of style. The manifesto of the APC takes primacy because he is running on the progressive ideals of the APC. And we all know the progressive ideals of the APC. It's steeped in, as opposed to the PDP, you understand? It's steeped in popular progressive ideals where the people will be the focus, the central focus. Now, if you look at it, what the thrust of the action plan actually is driven from the party manifesto. And it's just a matter of style. I'm going to specifics now. For example, the APC came, the thrust of the APC that it was going to, under Buhari, fight corruption, create employment, and security. And it's the same thing that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is going to build on what Buhari has done in the last couple of years. And the government has done remarkably well. If you look at what's on the ground. But you see, the point here is also matter of style. Asuwaju is a team player. It's a team player. You see, no one can take that away from him. And that's why he helped in midwifing the APC that managed to dislodge a PDP that seems set to rule for, according to some of the sellers, for 60 years. And by extension, forever. The PDP was poised to rule, to walk that talk of ruling for, until Asuwaju and Buhari halted them on their tracks. So, basically, the action plan of the candidate is no different from the manifesto of the APC. And it's just a matter of style, approach, and one of which is that also there is going to be a lot of private sector participation in, for example now, in energy, which is very critical, energy, in industry, the revitalization of our industry, industrial hubs will be established in every geopolitical zone. I'm just giving you one instance, one example of the action plan of the candidate, which is rooted in the APC manifesto. But primarily, the primary focus will be to improve on what the present government of Muhammadu Buhari has done in matters of security. If you look at it, the government of the day has committed a lot of resources in retooling the Nigerian armed forces, in boosting capacity, in, like Erufai answered the question on national security at the Chatham House. And then also to get the right weaponry, the right arsenal, the right mindset, the right doctrine to fight an insidious enemy.
But if you say that, if you go that route, a lot of people will ask the question next, but you spent billions of dollars, getting the best fighter equipment, the best, jet fighters, even for the country. But this insecurity still pervades. It's still very, very here with us. Would you say that you have succeeded, actually?
Yes, we would. We would say, of course, we're working towards, knowing that we've managed to, first, to stem what was an existential threat to Nigeria's sovereignty. When APC came into office, some territories were annexed, foreign flags hoisted, republics declared. It's there. Up to 2015, certain parts of the country were absolutely under the control of insurgent elements who have declared a republic within the nation's territory. Where are they now? They've been dispersed. And because they've been dispersed, they have melted into other parts of the country, especially in the northwest. They found a place to dwell in the northwest, which is really vast. We all know what's going on in some of the forests that are largely unmanned. There is no government presence there. They have taken refuge there. They have melted into the local population, and some of them, insurgent elements, bandit elements, separatist elements. Look at the threat facing the nation. In some places, it's separatism. In some places, it's banditry. In some places, it's outright insurgency. So this is not, where we were. Where we are now is not where we were in 2015 or before 2015. And certainly it's not where we wish to be. But if you look at this question of insecurity, it's continental wide. If you look at it, you can't run away from the fact that what affects other Nigeria's neighbors, for example, and we all know the troubled Sahel region, this trouble since the collapse of perhaps countries like Libya, the amount of small arms that have pervaded the West African subcontinent, and the global economy that is on a meltdown, and so many other factors combine to make issues of insecurity. We can't have perfect security to linger. Insecurity will linger because beyond physical security, you also have other securities people tend to overlook. We have energy insecurity. We are battling with it.
Food insecurity.
Food insecurity. We are battling with that. So I would say yes on a scale of 1 to 10. How do I rate the APC government led by Muhammadu Buhari? I'll give it a 7, 8. Because given the plethora of challenges it met and the ability, it is an iron will to achieve what it has done. And then don't forget, this is democracy we're talking about. You have to lobby, you have to persuade, and you don't have the latitude to do solo runs, to do things on your own. You have to get the buy-in of a lot of people. And meanwhile, you have competitors also. There are competitors, foreign powers, who also see Nigeria's potential. As a sovereign nation, if it were economically and physically secured, Nigeria is a threat to major world powers. This is something that has been said before, and we've seen instances of foreign either mercenaries, how they will not allow to blossom and flower because they were a direct affront. We all know how Nigeria key role in the 1990s in restoring democracy in some West African countries and how it mobilized forces to check some misguided elements. The ECOWAS remarkable success story in Liberia, in Sierra Leone, and keep peacekeeping operations in some other parts of troubled West African sub-region.
But let's just quickly get back to the man, Tinubu himself, because this it's more of a make or break for your party at this time. Now that the elections the campaigns are top notch at the moment. Tinubu himself, do you think he would have been more appealing to Nigerians, for the lack of a better word, with this Chatham House visit? Do you think Nigerians would have been more, accepting to him if he had responded to local media presence and questions before going to the international front?
Well, you see, the campaign is still ongoing.
So he's going to still have to interface with at town hall meetings?
He has to interface with all Nigerians. And you see, they're doing this lingering, if you like, I don't want to use the word, but some people have made it a controversy. When he declined, one national network asked him, and he said, look, the time is not convenient for me, that I have other schedules. But if you make it convenient for me, it's not foreclosing anything. This much has, until it became politicized. It has become politicized now. One major network, the whole thing has been politicized. And naturally, when things are politicized, they become cloudy. But let me tell you this. Apart from appearing on Chatham House, engaging Chatham House, he spoke with the BBC, focus on Africa. And he dwelled extensively on all the issues raised. And it has gone viral now, and I'm sure you must have watched it. So Tinubu is not shying away from appearing before the media. He's done that. He's been in the public eye, in the media eye for plus minus 30 years, from 1992 when he went to the Senate.
But not when he was contesting for president.
No, this is the thing we're saying. The campaign is still an ongoing process. It's not something that we foreclose engagement with the media. Certainly not. The media is an important enriching a great number of Nigerians when they rely. You know the constitutional role of the media. You understand, to hold government accountable. We're not yet in government, but Bola Tinubu is an institution, and that's why the media is interested in him. Bola Tinubu is not the only the only presidential candidate. Plus minus, we have a couple of them, but he is a front runner. Some people, the assumption is that he's the president in waiting. Rightly so, given that his party has the greater number of governors, controls both chambers of the assembly, National Assembly. So it's given his legendary ability to mobilize people, to network, to interface, to build bridges, to build coalition. He is at the top of the coalition that ousted an arrogant, underperforming political party, the PDP, and reduced it to a shadow of its former self. Till this moment, the PDP is yet to come to terms with what hits it. Twice. Two successful elections, 2015, 2019, it lost. And it's going to face the man who has made other people kings. They're going to meet the kingmaker himself, who had decided to mobilize in his battalion that we call ourselves to success. So yes, at a point, definitely this much I know, that he would interface with the media local. He's interfaced with the foreign media, for example, and that's a totally different thing. Back home, he would do that. Oh, definitely. Time will come.
Okay, this is geared all towards a successful, campaign and eventual election, and possibly he becomes president. But until then, when you look at the regional political permutation, the PDP, your greatest opposition says, okay, we have this much, even though they have this 5 other governors who are having their legs just in between.
Mm-hmm.
For you as a party, when you do the permutation, you look at the regions in the country, what chances are there that you will hit a 25%?
We're absolutely confident. Absolutely. Okay, let me just take you. Let's begin. Let's begin with by perception, the weakest link. Let's begin with the Southeast, for example. The Southeast has traditionally been faithful to the opposition PDP. But in the Southeast, look at it. We have Ebonyi. Ebonyi is APC. So you expect we get that 25% there. Enugu, in the Southeast, plus minus, we get that 25% because there are also local issues there. Enugu is part of the recalcitrant, I think, G5. So nobody, it could go either way. But
50-50.
It's 50-50. But we would just want to get our 25% there. And we will. Imo is APC. So you see, out of 6 states in the southeast, if we can have 3 to get the 25%.
5 states.
5 states. 3, we are likely to get 3 out of the 5. Imo, Ebonyi, Enugu. And which other state? We have Anambra. Anambra is actually Abga even. I forgot about Anambra. And Anambra, given the spat going on between the governor of Anambra State and the Peter Obi, I don't see APC fortunes being threatened there. And certainly not PDP's fortune. Normally, ABGA, traditionally, it aligns with the party at the center. It did that in the past with the PDP. So that leaves which state in the southeast now? Anambra, Imo, Ebonyi, which other state remains the non state? Well, but that is our weakest link. In the southwest, that is the constituency, the immediate constituency of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. All except even Oyo State now. Well, Oshun, given what we suffered earlier, not too long ago in the year when we lost election.
That's 2 states down already for you. You cannot win in those 2 states.
No, we can get our 25%. We're not saying we're going to.
You really can get 25%?
We're going to get 25%.
In Oyo State?
In Oyo State,
in Osun State?
In Osun State, we're going to get 25%. We may not, given the fact that it's a PDP control state, we may not get overwhelming majority there, but the 25%, I'm absolutely certain we're going to get that. Now, if you go to Oyo State, another PDP control state, Seyi Makinde, because he's part of the G5, in fact, he made a public statement that he's not going to work for the party's candidate. So that means he's going to work for the APC. I don't see him working for Labour Party.
No, but he has not said that he's going to work for the APC too.
But the fact that he said he's not going to work for
you now, for that translates for working for the APC.
Because now it was by some luck, actually, he became governor. We all know that the infighting in the APC at the time made it possible for Seyi Makinde. And I must say, I must give it to him also, he's connected. But we're talking about the presidential race here. So it's going to be an outright win so out of 6 states in the southwest, we are sure of getting the 25% and getting an overwhelming majority because it's the immediate constituency of Bola Tinubu. And don't forget that Bola Tinubu in 2003, most of the states in the southwest were swept by sheer chicanery, where one, except Lagos. So Lagos was the lone survivor under Tinubu. The tsunami, actually, PDP swept away most of the AD governors at the time. But for the vigilance of Asiwaju, who went to court, led a charge that reclaimed most of the states because the elections were rigged and they were proved to be rigged. Now, clearly, there is his home ground, is his territory, is his stuff. So we don't have any problem with that.
What about the Northeast?
Now, Northeast, there are 6 states in the Northeast. 3 are peace for the PDP and the APC. That should give you an idea. Now, if you look at it, the APC in Bauchi, it's just calculation. A slight APC is still the dominant party at the bottom in Bauchi State.
Even though you have a PDP governor?
Even though you have a PDP governor, at the bottom, the people of Bauchi, radical people who are politically savvy, you understand. And
but even at that, they still lost the elections to the PDP the last time.
Yeah, because of some local issues. And they say all politics is local. In 2019, all the 3 senators were APC. Preponderant members of the State Assembly were APC in 2019 election. It's only the governor. And the election was lost and won because of a number of local factors. But predominantly, Bauchi people are APC. Now, even now, let's look at the governor himself. The governor himself is part of the G5. Not too long ago, he made a volte-face that, look, he's received a lot of cool shows from the presidential candidate. So he's joined the G5. That means he, in other words, is not likely to work or to bring the state to support the presidential ambition of the presidential flag bearer of the party, that is Atiku Abubakar. Now move to the neighboring Gombe state, it's APC. So I see us making more than 25%. It's traditionally the APC has always won in Gombe state. Then move Taraba. Taraba is PDP, but we're going to get our 25% there because there are also other local factors. Then where? Adama, well, you must give it to, perhaps to Atiku Abubakar, is his home state, and he has bestrode this political space for years. But now, look at it, there are rumors that that the governor is trying to save his skin, especially now with the emergence of a very strong contender for the office of governor in the person of Senator Aisha Binani, who has connected massively. She has this strong connection with the women folk, and don't forget, most voters are female. Always they are faithful voters. And now there will be that gender solidarity. Now, and her nomination has only been reaffirmed by the appeal court. And joyfully and thankfully, Nuhu Ribadu has withdrawn. So we're seeing a progressively strong APC in Adamawa State, which is going to be a big challenge, not just to the governor there, but also the presidential candidate. And don't forget, the people of Adamawa, they've seen the presidential candidate for the time he was a very powerful vice president. He failed to deliver the dividend of democracy to the people of Adamawa, one of which manifested in his inability to have a road constructed from Gombe to Yola, and ultimately to his birthplace until the APC government did that. So here, 3 states apiece in the northeast geopolitical region, and I just explained to you that out of these 6, 4 clearly are not. That is with the Bauchi, they are APC strongholds. So with that, I don't see any serious challenge. So and don't forget, there is Borno, there is Borno, and there is Yobe. They are all the APC control states. You understand? And Borno is the host, is the top of the presidential running mate of Asuwaju. That is Kashim Shatima Mohammed. So you see, we out of the 6 states, only maybe Adamawa, but all the others are certainly APC controlled.
And the Northwest?
And that is where it gets very interesting, because the Northwest domicile the most votes nationwide, about 19 million registered voters. And Kano alone has about 6 million voters, coming a close second to Lagos. Now, if you are to look at it numerically speaking, no one desirous of determined to win a presidential election if you can't have the votes of Lagos and Kano. Rivers, for example. We're going to go to the South shortly. Now, you're not going to cost home and dry. Now, in Kano, the only interesting thing there is the Konkoso challenge. It's the home turf of the NNP presidential candidate. Some people say if Konkoso were running to be governor, possibly he would dislodge the APC, because I must say this, he's quite popular among young people in Kano. And you know, young people anywhere, they can be very
zealous. Yeah.
Yes, precisely. You understand? So, but we're talking of the presidential race here. And don't forget, APC actually, Buhari, this is where the Buhari magic will come into effect. And notwithstanding even at that, the Tinubu factor also there, because in Kano, Tinubu is one, he has been received, the state government, the governor there. The first time Tinubu will stage one of his annual colloquium, he took it outside Lagos, after Lagos, Abuja, and then Kano. He's never gone to any subnational to do that, except Kano. In Kano, Tinubu is well received. Not too long ago, when he went to commiserate with flood victims, look at how warmly he was received in Kano. So in Kano, it's going to be a keen contest. I don't see PDP making any headway there. It's going to be a keen contest between APC and possibly Konkoso. But Konkoso, in luck, he's running for president, he's not running for governor. So that leaves it a clear win for the APC. Go to Katsina. Katsina is APC. thorough and thorough. Atiwaju will coast to victory. Go to neighboring Zamfara state. Zamfara, Matawale is APC. Then where? You go to Kebbi. Well, Sokoto is PDP. But also, don't forget a very strong factor there. The PDP governor, they are one with the slimmest of margins. Less than 400 votes. And that's how he was returned governor in 2019. So in other words, it's actually, out of the 3 senators, 2 are APC. So it's actually the home of APC. And then there is a strong man there, the former governor of the state, Ali Wamaku, Magatakande Wamaku. It's a very strong force. He was so strong, that's how he buried his former boss, Atahi Bafara. Nobody is speaking of Atahi Bafara now. Even Tambuwal became governor at the pleasure of Ali Wamaku. So that's where Atiku Bagude in Kebbi. Kebbi is stronghold of APC. So if you can do it, it's actually a no contest. When people say we're likely to have a runoff, that there may not be a clear winner in the first.
Is that not very likely?
Well, if the trend continues, I don't see a second ballot would not be necessary. If the way the trend continues like this, with the lingering crisis in the PDP, which I don't see it being resolved, APC every day is making inroads, is building bridges, is resolving its internal conflicts. People are coming together who would have thought after the rancorous primaries, and I must use that word, by now APC will be able to cement its problems. And then people will rally around. You just gave an example with Nasser El-Rufai. He fell in line. No, not so much fell in line. And Nasser El-Rufai is a man of his own conviction. He has very strong convictions, unless he believes in a project. Really, El-Rufai, after all, is at the head of those who insisted that power must shift to the south. If you recall very well, in the APC, when some people wanted to say, no, there is a preferred candidate. No, the governors with El-Rufai in the front line actually said, look, we want power to shift away from the north. And we're honorable people. Politicians from the north are honorable people. We must respect that rotation principle. And this is how the preferred candidate never, when he went to, well, that is all history now. So, I don't see any likely of a runoff. I don't see that. I don't see a second ballot.
Okay, there are indeed gains under the President Muhammadu Buhari administration, which you alluded to. As a matter of fact, that point has been corroborated by the strong man of the PDP in the person of the River State Governor, Nyesom Wike, when he said that the Buhari administration has performed in terms of projects more than any other administration in the past. You say that your party and indeed your candidates will, crystallize on the gains of the Buhari administration. How well do you think he's positioned to do this?
Well, first, because his party, to the merger that saw the APC come into business, has been part and parcel of the evolution of the APC, and in a way helped to stabilize the government. And because at a point he was even referred as the national leader of the party, apart from the president. So, and then given his legendary ability to hunt for talent, he's a talent hunter. And that's why from his political family, you see so many people who have made their mark. I gave you an example in the past. Now, one of his immediate successor as governor, Babatunde Raji Fashola, well, people like to even make this allusion that he's a super minister. He was at the point Minister of Works, Power, and Housing. That's very key critical. Right now, he is heading a directorate in the Independent Campaign Council. And Fashola is part of the nucleus of the Bola-Tinubu political empire, if you like, because an empire. He was the chief of his staff, and then later on succeeded him as governor. So with that alone, it's a data bank. Fashola is, and just giving one example how Bola Ahmed Tinubu will build on the success of Buhari, what Buhari has done. And really, Buhari has done much more than people thought, given the challenges. And then with this limited income, revenue, and but because of his austere disposition, he's a man of very austere. And then because of his taciturny, a lot of people don't celebrate. At a point, he had cause to complain that people who should ordinarily advertise, publicize, let me use that word, publicize, not advertise. And even the bragging rights, he has the bragging right to say people who should advertise, they're not doing that. It is a government that is largely underreported. Its exploits, its remarkable reforms are largely underreported, largely underpublicized. So with that, and then don't forget that it's going to be, hopefully, we're optimistic, a comprehensive handover notes. And then we're going to build on all of that. And more than anything else, the greatest asset Asuwaju has is the ability to assemble talent that would drive the process, that would drive his vision to fruition, that would actualize his vision. So with that in mind, I have no doubt that he will lead us to a new and better Nigeria, and possibly the Eldorado we all desire, because he's a consummate team player, an astute administrator, and more than anything else, a very politically savvy politician. Yeah.
Your opposition, the PDP, believes that you are trying to frustrate the use of the Vivas. Is that the case?
I think they're crying wolf where there is none. The Vivas have already been used in Osun, Ekiti, Anambra election. And why didn't the APC frustrate that process?
They said because this is a presidential elections and that your party, they allege, has gone ahead to bring in some Chinese experts to, sort of
undermine
the Vivas in some sort of, digital way.
Unfortunately, the PDP has problem of credibility. It alleged, if you remember, in 2019 election, that there was a server that results were posted, and it said it had an authentic result, but they couldn't prove that. So it's a lot easier for allegations to be made. Let them prove that. How authentic? Let them prove that. You understand? But having said that, I'm in support of Vivas. Like I said, it has been used in the past. Like, for example, now, in the case of Osun, there are even glitches in the Vivas. One of the contention there, even which has been taken, a case has been made, is that the Vivas actually, they have glitches. Is there in the petition filed by the Oyetola, the election. Until this moment, there are places when INEC raised fears that there are blind spots in 2019. That's why it couldn't deploy. There are blind spots that are not being serviced by internet, lacking in internet facilities. Till this moment, there are still dark spots which have not been captured till this moment. But you see, like INEC assured, this is work in progress. Don't forget the back and forth at a point that only the NCC can actually say, look, we can deploy, you can use electronic transmission. But the Electoral Act is very clear about this. So if the APC, the PDP, unfortunately, you see the thing I was saying about glitches? I was going to say if the PDP, but I call the APC. But if it were REVEALED-TINUBU now, it will be made a very serious matter. Now, the PDP is making these allegations because they see, what I see is that they see imminent defeat with the problem they have at home, with the recalcitrant G5 governors led by the ever-bubbling Wike. And Wike, you know where you stand. Who would have thought the Wike would thumbs up Buhari's government, given his belligerence? So, I think they're just crying wolf. Let them prove that. And that's why I say PDP is lacking in credibility. Nobody believes what the PDP says, issues concerning. They're trying to, as much as possible, to create and doubt in the minds of most Nigerians so as to take away the credibility of the election. If they raise fears that some Chinese individuals have been brought in by the APC to understudy and to undermine, let them prove. How do they know they are Chinese? Let them prove. Let them prove. The honor is on them to prove that indeed some people are trying to undermine or compromise the viewers. But you expect that the PDP especially, that's why they're the opposition. And, you know, the PDP has a history of, you know, standing truth on his head. It was only under PDP, for example, that 16 was greater than 19. There was a governors forum election. Amechi, I remember trying to lead the governors. He won with 19 votes, but the PDP is no. Jang, who had 16 votes, was the authentic Nigerian governors forum leader at the time. You understand? So it's not surprising that the PDP would throw this allegation in the direction of the APC.
If there are problems of trust, what would you say to the APC now? Do you think that Nigerians will trust your party in 2023 to give you that support, despite the brouhaha about your candidate, Tinubu, who they say has got questions to still answer when it comes to his age, when it comes to his capacity to perform CNC, and so on?
Well, trust, that's why Tinubu remains the front runner. It's because people trust Tinubu. And that's why people, especially the opposition, the competition, is running from pillar to post to halt his movement, to halt him in his tracks. But he's already galloping to victory. He's coasting to victory. No doubt about that. And because he is the man to beat, people will raise and resurrect issues long settled, issues of his birth, his age, his school. They will be resurrected because they are nothing else to throw in the direction of the man. No more darts to throw in the direction of the man. All the darts have been thrown and they fell off. Maybe they might have stuck for a while, but they fell off. One of his famous critics way back in 1999, 2000, and even 2001 is now his foremost promoter. We all know who he is, Festus Keyamo. He's his foremost promoter, and he would defend Tinubu if he did not believe in Asiwaju, if he did not trust Asiwaju, he will not be in the front line promoting him. That's one example. That's clear. And there's a host of other people. If they're not asking about his identity, about his age, they're asking about some other extraneous factors. If the Muslim ticket has not, has somehow died down, they will resurrect his paternity or his maternity or his health, because he is a front runner, and people, the opposition, know that in their hearts of hearts he is well ahead of the competition, way ahead. And that's why they are not subjecting the others to this. And maybe coming a distant second is Atiku. Atiku has had his fair share of identity, paternity issues. At a point, he will say he was not even a Nigerian. People
do you think the North will support your position?
My position?
Yes.
Oh yes, the North is already supporting my position.
No, not your position, the opposition.
The opposition will support our position? Well, let them prove otherwise. The opposition is their own, the issue is, they will go, that's why there is the opposition. The opposition, the role of the opposition is to oppose. So you don't think the opposition, they don't have the grace of someone like Wiki, for example, who would admit that Buhari, politics aside, has done very well. That was, for Wiki, for some of them, that amount to suicide. But Wiki, he speaks from the heart. Today, don't think it's only Wiki who will go to a state like Lagos, look at the PDP gubernatorial candidate and say, look, I'm endorsing the opposition. I'm endorsing Sanwo-Olu to the charging of the gubernatorial challenger there on the PDP. You understand? So it's only Wiki speaks. So you will not expect the opposition, not the kind of opposition we have, except you have someone like Wiki, who is, in a way, you understand, is not afraid to swim butt naked in a pond.
Are you implying that he could be supporting the APC for the president?
Well, at least he's supporting. He said some very nice things about the president, which is true. Which the president has not even asked his media men or his publicists to publicize. For example, when he acknowledged that the derivation has been released, the derivation fund has been released to all producing states, and all the governors were mute. The federal government did not announce that. Under PDP, months before the time, there will be press statements, there will be press conferences, there will be some grand display of, look, we're going to settle the derivation. So people will know that we are not. But under PDP, it was withholding funds meant for states that are perceived as recalcitrant, as stubborn. It happened with the case of Lagos. Throughout the 8-year period, Lagos state funds were withheld by the federal government. Funds meant for local government were withheld because Asiwaju was futuristic enough to develop local council development areas, LCDAs. And the funds meant for local were withheld. But somehow, Asiwaju, like we said earlier, he managed to find new ways for revenue generation. He moved the state from a paltry 600 million internally generated revenue every month to 6 billion. And now Lagos is talking about 60 billion monthly generated revenue. And that is remarkable. If Lagos were a nation state, it would have been the 6th largest economy on the continent of Africa. Lagos is like California state. California state, like you know, the amount of money it generates is look at the energy consumed in California. You know, so, but that's, let me not digress. So, the opposition would naturally oppose. They will not see any silver lining, and that's why it's the opposition. But thankfully, there are also level-headed individuals in the opposition. Well, the opposition that is led by the River State Governor. Yes. So yes, I see Asiwaju, I see APC coasting to victory. I don't see any that is not in contest.
I'm afraid that's where we should let it rest now for giving us so much information to clarify some of the the narratives that are out there. Ali is the Deputy Director of the APC as well as the Tinubu Shetima Presidential Campaign Council. We do sincerely thank you for talking to us here on Front Row Politics.
Thank you very much, Gimba. Thank you. I look forward to appearing in your show another time. Thank you very much. Probably one with me. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Appearing in your show another time. Thank you. I look forward to. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Appearing in your show.